Hey there guys, and welcome. So if you're considering moving to Vero Beach, or maybe you're just a little bit curious as to what life is like here, either way you are in the right place, because today I'm going to be diving into some of the realities and some of the challenges that come with living in Vero Beach. Now, this place definitely has its perks, but like anywhere, it's not without its drawbacks. So we're going to be going over some aspects of life here that may give you some pause, especially if you're thinking about making a permanent move. And if you're in the process of deciding, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to help you figure out if Vero Beach is the right place for you and be there to guide you through every step if it is. So my contact information is going to be right here in the screen and in the description below, so don't be shy. All right, let's jump right into it. Now, first up guys, let's talk about activities and entertainment. So Vero Beach has its reputation for being a quiet, slower paced town, and there's definitely some truth to that. And if you're coming from a big city with endless entertainment options like live concerts all the time, diverse nightlife, and constant events, then Vero Beach could feel that it's missing some of that energy. Now, don't get me wrong, Vero has its share of local events, community festivals, and its own nightlife if you know where to look. Nice, great restaurants and local shops. But if you're expecting a bustling arts district with live shows and a wide variety of entertainment options, that is just not what you're going to find here. Vero Beach offers more in the natural way of beauty. So think beaches, parks, and outdoor activities. So if you're someone who loves a quieter life closer to nature, then you're likely to enjoy it. One of the main reasons for this is that the community here really values the small town feel, and they go to lengths to keep it that way. So Vero Beach has actually tried to expand in the past, like this last voting election, but every time a development referendum goes up for a vote, it almost always gets shot down, and the locals here have made it very clear. They want to keep Vero Beach's small town vibe intact. And honestly, this resistance to growth has its upsides. It keeps the area from being overdeveloped, overcrowded, or even too over-commercialized. But at the same time, it limits new business opportunities and keeps things like larger retail stores, entertainment complexes, or newer cultural venues from setting up here. And the zoning restrictions here are also quite strict, which only reinforces the town's commitment to maintaining a low-key, relaxed vibe. So guys, if you're someone who loves seeing rapid development and more business options, then Vero Beach may feel a little bit behind the curve. All right guys, now let's talk about something that comes up anytime you discuss life in Florida, and that is hurricanes. And if you're gonna live in Vero Beach, understanding and preparing for hurricanes is just part of the reality here. The area has definitely seen its share of significant storms over the years. One of the big ones was Hurricane Nicole, which made landfall in Vero Beach in November of 2022. Right off of 58th Avenue and 12th Street, so pretty far out west, not too bad. It got pretty bad for a little bit. But the biggest one, recent one, in October 2024 was Hurricane Milton, which was especially rough on Indian River County and St. Lucie County. That one actually spun off a ton of tornadoes, causing damage, power outages, and fatalities. And after Milton passed through, I got in my truck driving around to see what the flooding situation was like firsthand. And guys, it was eye-opening to say the least. I've seen which areas tend to flood and which neighborhoods really came out completely unscathed. So if you're worried about flooding, then I've got some real deal insights on that front. And here's something worth noting too. New construction homes, which are typically my specialty, actually held up perfectly fine. Every one of my clients who are currently building a home was relieved to hear that their properties were safe, sound, high and dry. And Vero Beach doesn't take hurricane threats lightly, and the community here has taken steps to prepare. So we have strong building codes, so designed specifically for higher winds. There's a solid emergency response plan in place always, and this always helps minimize the damage when the storm does come through. And that said, hurricanes are still a part of life here, and it's something that you'll need to be prepared for if you're thinking about moving, but you can really insulate yourself if you buy the right home. Now let's dive deeper into the weather, because for a lot of people, the climate is a huge factor in the decision to move. And Vero Beach has a tropical climate, and while the sunshine is amazing, the humidity can be intense, especially for those who might be a little bit more sensitive to it. So if you're from a dry climate, like somewhere in the southwest or certain parts of the Midwest, then you may find that Florida's high humidity takes a bit of adjusting, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, guys, it's heavy.
It's the humidity!
Personally, there have been times when the humidity almost pushed me out of Florida altogether. And if it weren't for my wife keeping me nailed down here, then I probably would have been gone. And also too, with my asthma, I've noticed that I can be pretty tough on my breathing, especially during those peak summer months. And now that my son has asthma too, I'll be honest with you guys, it has got us completely considering moving because the air can get so thick. And it's one of those realities of living here that you really have to think about, especially if you or a family member has a respiratory condition like asthma. But on the plus side, air conditioning is just about everywhere and it's an absolute lifesaver. So homes, cars, stores, you're rarely far away from any AC. And one of the upsides to this warm, humid climate is that you can enjoy outdoor activities year-round. So whether it's going to the beach, golfing, or fishing, you don't have to worry about a harsh winter putting a damper on your plans. Just keep in mind though that the Florida heat and humidity are no joke, and they are definitely something to consider if you are looking to move here. Now guys, let's dive into the cost of living in Vero Beach. So while the area isn't the most expensive in Florida, it's definitely not the cheapest either. So housing is one of the biggest factors, with the median home price sitting around $347,700. That's a bit higher than some of the neighboring areas like Palm Bay, for instance, but it's not astronomical when compared to the bigger Florida markets like Miami or West Palm Beach. And here's another key point to consider. In terms of property tax rates, Indian River County actually ranks 43rd out of Florida's 67 counties in terms of millage rate, which is what they use to calculate the property taxes. So while we're above the national average for housing costs, property taxes in Vero Beach are relatively affordable compared to other Florida's pricier counties. Now, if you're looking to buy a new construction home, there are some added cost-saving perks here, and many of the newer builds are designed with energy efficiency in mind, and that can really help reduce those monthly bills. And new construction often comes with spray foam insulation in the attic, which is fantastic for keeping the house cooler without having to overwork your AC. And many of the homes here also feature energy-efficient appliances that use less electricity, helping you keep the utility costs down. And beyond the energy savings, there's another big advantage to new construction when it comes to insurance. So these homes are built up to meet the up-to-date hurricane-resistant codes, meaning that they're generally eligible for more insurance credits. And this can lead to lower premiums thanks to safety features like impact windows and reinforced straps on the roof. So while the cost of living in Vero Beach might be on the higher side, choosing a newer home can help offset some of those expenses with long-term savings on both utilities and insurance. Next up, let's talk about the job market in Vero Beach, the non-existent job market. This is a big consideration if you're moving here for work or planning to switch careers. And Vero Beach's economy is quite focused on a few main industries, namely agriculture, so think like citrus farms, tourism, and healthcare. And if you're coming from a field like tech, finance, or something that isn't well represented here, then you might not be finding the local job opportunities that you were looking for. And as of August of 2024, the Sebastian/Vero Beach area had 66,000 employed individuals, but that number is actually seeing a slight decrease from the previous year. And for comparison, the average hourly wage here is $23.92, which is roughly 20% below the national average. And that means generally you're looking at a lower wage level compared to bigger urban areas. So if you're hoping for a high-paying job or a big city salary, you might have to adjust your expectations a bit. However, if you work remotely or you can commute to nearby areas, then you may be able to live here and still earn a wage from another market. But if you're looking to work locally and your industry isn't agriculture, healthcare, or tourism, or even real estate sales, then the opportunities are definitely more limited here. Now let's wrap things up by discussing the overall vibe of the community. So Vero Beach has become known as a retiree destination, and a significant portion of the population here is in fact retirees. This shapes a lot of the town's culture, the amenities, and even the pace of life. And for young families or younger professionals, this dynamic might present some challenges for you guys. And while there are some family-friendly facilities, parks, schools, local activities, the general feel of the community does lean towards an older crowd, and retirement communities are common, and the town has a lot more of the relaxed, slow-paced atmosphere that some younger families might find a bit too mellow. The school system here is decent, but it's not as robust as what you'd find in a larger city. And some families feel that the local schools don't offer as many extracurriculars, specialized programs, or diverse academic opportunities, which could be a consideration if you have school-age kids. But we do kick butt when it comes to sports, A lot of a lot of good athletes come out of Vero Beach. All right, so that wraps up the main challenges and things to consider here about living in Vero Beach. Hopefully this gives you a balanced view of what it's really like here so that you can decide if it's the right fit for you. And if you're considering relocating or just have some more questions or want some help in navigating the options on the Florida's East Coast, then feel free to reach out. I'm here to make your move as smooth as possible, and you can call, text, or email me anytime. And remember, my contact details are right here on the screen, and you can find even more resources at fleastcoast.com. So guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.